Back on the land after 2 weeks, and I want to give you guys some updates on some things that I found near the campsite that we have. Also, an update on the plants that I planted about 5, 6, 7 episodes back. Let me just say this, they're not doing too well. And I'll tell you why, what I have learned since then, and what I plan to do differently when the rain, the rain and the planting season comes in really just about under a month. Before I show you guys the land, I wanted to make a quick pit stop because what I'm about to show you might be disturbing to some, but it needs to be shown. What you're seeing behind me and right next to me, and really kind of all around this plot of land that I stopped at, is Joshua trees that have been knocked down. These are very sacred trees. Not only that, they are the ancestors of the land. These trees, to get to this height, has taken decades. This is one of the slowest growing trees out here. And to see so many of them knocked down is truly heartbreaking. I don't know if this was natural. By the look of it, I want you guys to let me know. I'm seeing bark kind of everywhere all over the floor, so this does not look natural to me. This looks like it was man-made, like it was an axe that was being taken to it. But again, you guys let me know what you think. I don't see why nature would make it kind of explode and send bark everywhere, but let me know in the comments what you guys think. A huge part of me really wants to take a lot of these pieces that have been torn down and bring them over to my land so that at least it can provide a habitat for the animals that I want to attract. Not only that, it's also going to provide valuable compost to the land, especially with the rainy season and our planting season coming up. And you guys can't see it, but I'm telling you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 from just what I can see. I don't want to go too far off into this land. I don't know whose this is. It doesn't look like it's owned by anybody, but this is a problem. This cannot be happening, especially when we're in the midst, I don't know if you can see in the background, we're in the midst of this Joshua tree forest almost. I want to give you guys a good, close up of the rings of this trunk, if you guys can see it, just to show you how old this thing really is. If you guys can guess how old it is, please let me know in the comments. I would love to know more. So the first update I have for you guys is maybe a little sad one, but this is nature, this is wildlife, it's a part of the cycle, life and death. So every time I come out here, I kind of survey at least, a good quarter acre. I don't really go too far past because I'm not gonna walk all 3 acres every time. But I like to see what's growing, what's dying, what's new, what's maybe built by an animal. And today I didn't expect it to be so close to our camping site. I call it a camping site, but we don't really camp here. This is kind of just like where we're gonna have like different workshops and things like that, where we have like our workshop tables, our compost is over there in the mixed. And so I saw next to the picnic table a deadly scene that went down. First off, I was already thrown off because the picnic table is not supposed to be like this. It was supposed to be straightened out. Anyways, I come over here and see all over the floor these little feathers. And that, my friends, when it is scattered out like that and they're all broken and shredded up, can only mean one thing, that they got hunted. They, oh, look at that, there's some type of dung there. It's looking like, I don't know, jackrabbit or something. Maybe not. Maybe fox or something, I'm not sure, but something got to this guy. I'm not really sure what would eat a bird like this. I want to say maybe, I don't know. Let me know in the comments. maybe another hawk, maybe a bigger bird, maybe a fox, a coyote. But let me show you guys the other scene that I saw. There's a lot of death going on over here. I don't know what's going on. This is a hot spot, I guess, but I mean, these feathers are kind of just everywhere. As you can see, they're flickering around. They're even on our little bird stand thing, whatever you want to call this thing. And so, yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on around here, but this is like the wild, wild west. And another thing my son pointed out actually was this other piece of dung. And so we have so much activity on the lands, which is, I mean, awesome. This is the whole reason why we are doing this. I just wish that I'm able to document it better. I'm going to rearrange the camera that I have set up because I just haven't been able to find anything. So we're just gonna choose a different angle and yeah, see how that works out so I can get some footage of some of the wild animals that are coming through. That's why I don't get mad or sad or, annoyed when some of my plants are eaten or taken out of the ground or, things just get rearranged or something because I know that, I mean, I'm working with the animals here. I'm not working against them. Now, I will be, during the planting season, I will be putting up certain precautions. I will be putting up certain barricades around these young trees that I'm going to be planting, and all these seeds that I'm going to be putting in. I will be putting in some type of fencing, some type of netting, and things like that because I want these young plants to thrive. And in this environment where resources are just very scarce, it's like really survival of the fittest. Anything green is gonna go. Um, yeah, I'm gonna need to protect them so that in the long run, when animals do come and feed on it, it can be a sustainable feed. It's not just going to destroy the young plant and, kind of like curb the food for everybody else. It's not really fair. And so, yes, I am working with the animals, but I will be setting up some, precautions and setting up some barricades and stuff because, yeah, I want to work with the plants as well. They need a lot of help. But speaking of the plants, it's time for the update so many of you guys were waiting for. So many of you guys have been invested in because, people like to see things grow. And people saw the hard work that I was putting in. I put in hundreds of dollars. And I will say that 99.9% of it was just a complete failure. Okay, maybe not a failure, but it was a hard lesson to learn. When I came out here, I was super eager. I was super excited. I experienced tiny bit of rain, and I didn't do enough research into the area to know exactly when the planting season was and when the raining season was. And so, just off of that, you can kind of have an idea in your mind on what happened to these guys and what state that they're in. We went over a very, very tough summer. Absolutely zero rainfall for the past, I don't know, maybe like 8 months. And so let me show you guys what it's looking like. Here is a summary of basically what happened to all of these plants. Now, the cactuses were hit really hard because they actually had animals, dig them up and just completely destroy their root system, going after the little water that is held in these guys. And so all of the cactuses that I planted, all of them got dug up. Absolutely all of them. You can see like little pieces kind of everywhere. And yeah, the animals just straight up massacred them. It wasn't even the weather. I think they would have survived the weather. They would have did good. But again, with the lack of knowledge on the rainy season and the right planting time, it was kind of doomed for failure from the start. All of ours has just been really burnt up, really destroyed. The fact that it's still standing, I mean, I'm not going to hold my breath for when the green is going to come back if it ever does, but I'm actually kind of hopeful. The fact that they're not just completely decimated, this one might be a little decimated, but for the most part, everything is just destroyed. Let me see over here. Yeah, check out the sage over here. Yeah, it's pretty, yeah. But when I do feel them, I mean, they do feel still really sturdy. So, hey, we never know. Plants, especially these, desert acclimated plants, they are extremely resilient. I don't know if the rain is going to come and, months down the line, some green starts popping up, the roots are, drinking and then revitalized. We don't know. The plants, they can work in very mysterious ways. When you see these little holes in the ground or these little like divots, this is where I planted some things. I planted a variety of things. If you guys haven't checked out that episode, you guys definitely should. I planted trees, shrubs, little bushes, flowering plants, vines. I planted a bunch of stuff. This was a pine tree that is just, yeah, it's a no-go on this one. Here's another one of those cactuses. I mean, they got just mauled. They got destroyed. All of these have just been completely dug up. Doesn't even look like I planted anything. Also planted some agave, but again, during the planting season, and if you're not putting them in the ground during the planting season, it's just a wrap. They just didn't have enough time to get adjusted to the climate. If I put this in during the planting season, during the rainy season, that's like 3, maybe 4 months, this would have had enough roots and would have sank down enough to where it can withstand these extreme temperatures. I mean, if you look at these guys, if you look all the way around, all these shrubs have green on it. That's not like everything here is completely dry and brown like, the grasses. There are things that have green on it. And the reason is because they're tapping in to a water source that is just super deep. Okay. So you are able to grow things out here. They just need a time of, a transitional period, a time of acclimating to the environment, a time of really shooting those roots down and, searching for that water. Now, what we're going to be doing on the land with the Earthworks is kind of rejuvenating or replenishing the water table or the aquifer I told you guys about a couple episodes ago, so that they don't have to dig so deep in order to get water. That is the goal. It is a more long-term goal for sure. It's not going to happen in one rainy season. However, it will happen eventually. As you can see, these are just done for. But like I said, I'm not going to tear them out. I'm not going to, break them down. I'm going to allow them to just sit in here. Who knows? Maybe when the rainy season comes and the roots get some water, who knows? Maybe they might come back.
This is my first time cutting my own thing, and this is really good because I'm going to make a campfire with this.
Oh, yeah. So let's move on to some good news, or I guess kind of good news. These are still doing well. These sages, all the white sage that I put out a couple of sages out here, and they actually are doing fairly well. They might look a little dead right now, but when you feel them, they're actually really well rooted. Okay, I actually, not on the camera, but I tried to move around one of the other dead looking plants and it completely snapped off. The stem completely snapped in half. It was just like paper. It was just like dust. And for these to, I mean, this still has leaves on it. And so for this to still have leaves on it and be super sturdy, that means that there's some hope. I'm not saying that it's going to make this huge comeback and it's going to be, this huge bush. However, there's just some hope. Let's see what this guy. No, this is super sturdy in there. So when I see that, there's another one of those cactuses. When I see that, I have some type of hope, that the little watering that I did give them when I first planted it, that, hey, maybe they just acclimated a lot more quicker than the other ones. And in that case, I'm just gonna double down on all of those. Let me see this one. You see? Look, I mean, completely dead, dry. I don't know if the roots are gonna do anything, but this is completely bone dry. The sages are not like that, which is really cool. Now we do have one that defied all odds and, I mean, stayed alive. Like, this is for sure alive. And I cannot tell you what bush this is. I lost the little label it came with, and so I have no idea what this is. But the fact that this guy is still so alive, I mean, you can rub it and see color on the inside of the bark. Like, that's how you know it's alive. So that's why I said 99.9%, because somehow this one bush, shrub, whatever it is standing in the midst of just a lot of dead plants. So the obvious thing that I'm gonna do is pay attention to the rainy season. Like I said, when I first came in here, it was at the very end of the rainy season. I had like one or two drizzles and I was just hyped. You know, I was very optimistic, thinking, wow, it's gonna be self-sustaining out here. It's gonna water itself. I just gotta plant and I don't really have to do anything. Until the summertime came and the rain stopped and everything became bone dry. And so, you know, that's one thing that I'm gonna adjust is adjusting my time of planting. I'm gonna do it with the environment, not against it. I don't want to set up any type of irrigation system or any type of watering system. Like I said, I want plants that are native to this environment, not just this exact area. I am not a purist. I am not someone who, you know, I'm not doing invasive plants, of course, but I will do plants that are really good in this area that may not be in this exact mountain range, okay? Because we have to understand, guys, that this place has been decimated. This place has been overgrazed. This place has been, this is where a genocide happened. There used to be springs here and plenty of animals, plenty of big game, small game, plenty of native peoples here. And so it's like, this is not the environment, the natural native environment. This is not natural. This is not real. Okay, this is like a post-apocalyptic, you know, a scene, what you're looking at. Okay, so I want people to realize this, you know, when I talk about what trees I'm gonna be planting and stuff, because so many people will, not many people, but some people, some purists out there will say, hey, that tree doesn't belong there. That belongs like 30 miles south or 30 miles west or whatever. And it's like, how do we know that? How do we know that? Okay, and two, it can thrive in this environment. In fact, it does thrive in this climate. It's just in a maybe a little bit further out. But I'm gonna reintroduce some plants here. I'm gonna, you know, bring a lot of the natives here. I have hundreds and thousands of seeds, you know, grasses and flowers and things like that. But when it comes to the trees, there's just nothing here. Everything has just been destroyed. Okay, so with the trees, I'm going to be introducing some, maybe not native to this land, but native to this like larger region of the West Coast, of the Southwest, because this place needs biodiversity. This place needs more trees. It needs more shade. It needs more windbreak. It needs more, you know, habitat for birds, for smaller animals, for bugs, and that's what the trees are going to do. So with the rainy season coming in about a month, we are going to prep this place with all of the earthworks that we can. I want to get as many half moons in here that I can. I want to set up the swales. I want to set up, you know, all of these rock dams, and I want to be able to control the water. Okay, I want to be able to control the water as much as I can, keep it in certain areas, and then allow that to, yeah, just take care of that land and allow the plants to tap into that water bank. So with the planting season coming about, it's very important that we, you know, really up the amount of earthworks that we're doing. I want to fill this place with half moons or earth smiles and get the swales going, get the check dams going, make sure I really control this water and make sure it doesn't run off the land too quickly or at all, really. Um, but we're going to be taking advantage of this rain so that these plants and the plants that I, put in the ground in the near future, they have a better chance of survival. Another thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be growing these trees that I'm putting in, the mesquite trees to be exact. I also have a couple other trees like desert almond and a couple of other ones, but these trees are going to be grown at our house or at my warehouse or in a greenhouse so that they have a better chance of success. I want their roots to be more developed. I want the greens to be, just nice and growing. And that is going to allow us to just increase the chance of survival, because that is kind of like what we're working against, is this super harsh environment that limits the chance of survival for any new growth coming in, besides like these little grasses that they just grow like crazy. But when it comes to the trees and getting the trees back, we're gonna need to be very, very cautious, very careful, take a lot of precautions so that we can really get these guys to thrive, because this land needs it.